Thank you very much for the introduction, and sorry for the delay here as we were trying to figure out where the steps are. So my name is Vibha Chawla, and really appreciate all the people attending. We are actually talking about the topic crafting and communicating a vision for the future. So as an intro for myself, I'm Vibha, and I'm Chief Growth Partner with Focal Point Coaching. I own a franchise in Lincolnshire, Illinois. We have about 260 coaches across the globe, and we help companies with growth, scaling, and profits. One of the most important things that we are doing this year is increasing 10 to 30% revenue for the companies in 3 months. That's with the sales training. So my name is Vibha again from Focal Point Coaching. So with that, Stefan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. I'm not sure I've got this.
Oh, okay. I'm Brian Bauer. I am the founder and executive director of the Abundance Foundation. We're based in Fort Collins, Colorado. We're bridging the gap in the current model of addiction treatment when people are getting out of treatment centers, jails, and prisons, those type of things, scholarshipping them into sober living houses, and then helping them build their lives back to self-sufficiency.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. Steve Cummings. I'm the managing partner of Resolve Partners based in Toronto, Canada. Resolve is a firm that helps business owners and their management teams towards the back end of their ownership life plan their exit. We're looking to work with groups for 3 to 5 years in order to make sure that they're ready to sell their company when they bring them to market, increasing the probability of success. There's a very high failure rate on selling companies, and that's the problem that we're addressing. My background is venture capital, private equity. I'm a chartered accountant by training, and I have a group of multidisciplinary partners who help business owners prepare to sell their company.
Thank you, Steve. Want to go next?
My name is Tyler Watson, and I am the founder of Elite Performance Coaching. So my main thing is helping coaches and entrepreneurs be able to break through resistance within minutes instead of taking years. My backstory we're going to get into it, but my context is that I struggled a lot and sucked at a lot of things when I tried to grow my company, and went through addictive behaviors, all sorts of crazy stuff. And I found a technique to help people break through within minutes instead of repeating the same cycles for years. So that's what I'm passionate about. My goal is to empower every single human being who wants to succeed at a faster level to do so without sacrificing the things that they love.
We'll go next.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam Goldoon. I'm not sure if my mic is working. Oh, because I don't have it on. How about that stuff? That would be a good one. Here we go.
I'm the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called World Music Development, with a vision of creating peace through music, and our mission is done by holding events that raises funds for what we call the 5 pillars of peace, which is education, housing, nutrition, healthcare, and economic development. And I am a recently recovering politician as the mayor of town of Alma, Colorado. It is great to be here, to be part of this wonderful group of folks. Pleasure meeting you all.
Yeah, thank you very much again for the introductions. And as we talked about, the topic here is crafting and communicating a vision for the future. Why is that important? That is important, for our business growth, for aligning teams better. So with this, I'm going to ask Steve, could you explain to us why is communicating and crafting a vision for the future important in your business?
Well, thank you, Charlie. It's fundamental to what we do. If you think about business owners, really they're focused on surviving, growing their businesses, making a profit out of delivering products and services to the market. So the ability to plan an exit, for example, in my world, is limited, and often what we find is starting that process is the hardest thing, and so moving that into the topic for today, Really what we need to convince a business owner about is the visioning of the future, how they're going to make a move to their next act after they've completed their current business career. So road mapping that for them, creating that vision of how you get from A to B across a transaction threshold is really what we're all about. How that often business owners in the lower mid-market that we address, they may have a basic plan, but they typically don't have a strategic plan. But moving that visioning into action, for example, putting a strategic plan together, and that strategic plan being a written document, which then proves the steps that the business will go through over a 3 to 5 year period. All of these planning tools that you've heard about and maybe not necessarily pushed into your organization are fundamental to the visioning of how you're going to get across the line, particularly in the exit planning world. So I'll stop there. But there's lots of techniques on the communications side as well, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah, thank you very much, Steve. So now going on to Brian here, I think you have had a massive growth and strong culture. So how have you been able to create a vision in certain, small number of years that led to massive growth and strong culture? Could you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you. The idea is that the vision for the organization has to be so massive that everybody else's vision in the organization can fit inside of that vision. So the overall vision of it isn't just like a ultimate goal. It's not we're striving for something in particular. It's like creating more of a movement than it is achieving a goal. And so if that is so, like with our organization, we've been able to duplicate or get to a place to duplicate this model and put it in places across the country. So that's the ultimate goal, is to be able to expand it in that way. And so to be able to do that, everybody has to be bought into the bigger vision. And for them to have enough buy-in for it, they have to be able to see themselves and their own personal vision for it within that larger vision. So if somebody's going to be investing a large amount of their life and their time and their effort into something and into an organization, the buy-in has to be big enough that the trade-off is that that's what they're on board with too. Because if somebody's just trading time for money to show up, they're going to be operating at 40 to 60%. They're not going to be giving full effort, and they're going to be looking for the next opportunity to leave. And as soon as they get that opportunity, they're out, and then you're going to be replacing that person anyway, and that's what leads to high turnover and whatnot. So as soon as somebody can see themselves and what they want for their life and be part of the overall mission and the buy-in for what the mission of the organization is, then it's easy to get everybody on board and build that culture where everybody's working towards the same thing.
Yeah.
But to be able to do that requires relationships with your team. Like you have to be able to, like, brought team here today, and like we do things like that where it's bringing everybody together to be part of the building process.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a great point. So Tyler, going to you, I know you talked about addictions and many other things. You have seen a lot of resistance and failures. I know you talk very passionately about it. So tell us how somebody should create a vision when they're experiencing so many resistance and so much failures.
To me, I look at resistance. I mean, I went through, when I started off, I didn't have a vision at all. I was a massage therapist, dirt broke, literally charging like $15 to drive to someone's house and work on them. My dad was a clinical kinesiologist and always working, but sacrificing his relationships for work. And I saw this vision of helping people, yet the actual application was sacrificing marriage, sacrificing health. And part of me thought, there has to be a way to get the resistance to become part of the vision so that you don't have to lose everything to get your goal. And I became really obsessed with that. I watched so many, went through depression, suicidal tendencies, porn addictions. And through those, I found that the more resistance that you have towards a goal or towards a vision, that actually validates the power of your vision. If you do not have resistance, then you will not grow. And to me, the whole point of creating something is to grow. And if you can find that resistance and embrace it, utilize it. Don't run from it, don't hide it, don't feel shamed about it, but understand that the resistance is the way. It shows you the path of how to 10x anything that you are focused on. So utilizing that resistance, not as a pain point or something that you hide from, but to completely embrace it unashamedly and say, because I have this vision, I'm going to take every single step of the way to create what I want.
Yeah, I think you mentioned about resistance is roadmap to success. That kind of resonated with me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So Sam, I guess you have done multiple types of roles, as I understand, and you mentioned about how do we stay true to our vision, but there is so much change happening in the world, right?
Yeah,
So-
that's a great question. Thank you. For me, vision, it's like what Brian said, it's a broader thing, It comes from our why. Why is it that we're doing what we're doing? If we don't truly have a passion for it, it's frankly just a waste of time, not just for you, but for everybody around you that you're getting involved as well. And I sometimes find it that folks mix what a vision is and what a mission is. Mission are those steps to accomplish the vision, and vision is so broad and wide that when you put it in front of people, it can trigger resistance. It can trigger feelings that they think this is not something we can accomplish. Imagine when, as humans, we decided we want to go to the moon. I don't think the mission or the vision was going to the moon. The vision was that space exploration. And part of that mission became going to the moon. So that's how I look at the wilder, the broader, the crazier, the more it scares you, I say, the better that vision actually is. Think about it. When people go on vision, you hear about stories, somebody went on a vision quest, right? When they come back from that, when you hear from them, what do you think? Sometimes it comes across, they don't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah. That's what I've learned, So you want that vision to be really broad. You want it to scare you, actually, more than anything. And then figuring out those steps of how to get to what you want to accomplish. And that's how the mission is put together. And you got to be flexible with that mission because of changing times. Technology changes, environment changes. So we got to be flexible to that in order to be able to accomplish our vision. That's what I would say. And gosh, I've done this in the government world, in the nonprofit world, and in government, it's really interesting when you put a vision in front of a community and wait to see the resistance then. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
excellent. So the next question from me, I guess, was turning this vision into the measurable results. We do help companies with 10 to 30% revenue increment in 3 months with our sales training. So how do I convert that vision into the measurable results? So basically, we always make sure that whatever work we are doing, keeping our vision into the picture. For example, if we are having sales strategy, now this is getting into more tactics, right? That when we are having the sales strategy, we want to make sure that are we actually going true to our vision. Our vision, I guess I am also refining that a lot more, is changing and adapting. But my vision here is to actually, it may be a mix of vision and mission, but helping small businesses with growing their revenues 10 to 30% in 3 months, at least 500 plus people. Again, this may be a mix of that, but that is what we are trying to achieve. So the whole team actually aligns with that, right? Making sure we are all motivated, excited, because they do go through quite a lot of struggles. And that revenue, that scaling, it is critical for them to survive, thrive, and be able to scale. So that's our goal. The other thing that we do is in terms of making sure it's at tactical levels too. We do keep vision in picture. We also talk about the unique value proposition. So when you're crafting a vision, you want to make sure that your unique value proposition is also coming into the play. What is my unique value proposition is that we are, for example, is that we're providing measurable results. Until you achieve those results, we don't leave you alone. We are making sure that is happening. So the vision should craft that, but also your tactical aspects should always be looking into the vision, and basically we are executing those strategies, not just leaving it as a vision, but people are moved towards it, looking into it, etc. So with this, are there any questions from the audience? Maybe we can take a few. Yeah, sure. Want to go there so everybody can hear it? Thank you.
How do you manage? Is it working? Hello, hello?
Is there a switch on the bottom or on the side? Here comes the help.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah.
How do you manage what I think is the inevitability of a changing vision while you are on your way? How do you communicate that? How do you keep your people moving toward, that big hairy vision, but it's actually shifting?
Yeah. So I think that's probably a question for you, Sam.
Let me ask you a question. Is that shifting the mission or the vision itself? Has the vision changed? Give me an example on that, please.
I can't give you a concrete example, but I will say that with the introduction of AI, for example, a lot of visions and how we have to get there will shift. Some of the people that were involved in visions aren't going to be there anymore because of AI that's come in along the way. So you're inspiring this group of people to move toward that big vision, and it shifts. How do you keep everybody engaged?
I think you said it right there. How do you then continue to inspire that group that has decided to be part of your team to work with you towards that vision? If that inspiration gets lost, I think that's when the vision is lost. So continuing to work on that common ground that we all have, what we can all agree on, and how you as a leader can inspire that group, because like you said it, I agree with you. AI is going to come. You go ask AI, create this vision for me. Does it in 2 seconds for you.
That's right.
But does it have a why attached to it? Why?
Yes.
But is that why coming from you, or is it coming from the AI? So I think, again, your story of why you're doing what you're doing, crafting the vision that you have crafted, it's the most important thing. And it's you that's going to inspire the people that are around you to work with you towards that vision. So AI can't take it over. Because I do think we do have that human connection that AI still doesn't have. So we do have that advantage over that. So again, I always go back to, why is it that you're doing it in the first place? Because if you're confused about your why you're doing it, I think or if I was the one that was confused about my why, I don't think I can inspire anybody around me to listen to me, to be part of the team to accomplish the vision. That's what I would say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other question? We can probably take one more. Okay, thank you very much. So moving on to the next question here. Steve, I guess this is for you. Because can you give me a specific example where visioning is fundamental? I know we were talking about, I don't want to give specific example from my state, but visioning is fundamental to achieving like a big, hairy goal, audacious goal. What communication strategies have you employed? I know you have worked on really big strategies, so could you give us some example?
Yeah, there's 2 questions there, so I'll pick up on your point. I'll give you an example in my world. For the last year or so, I've been involved with a genomics vision in Canada. This is an investment that's been going on for 25 years. In our organization, we've invested $1.5 billion, and ultimately the vision was to take genomics innovation out of the universities and the research institutions and so on, and ultimately bring that innovation to market. That would be the vision. The mission along the way has changed because the human genome was catalogued along the way. In the first 15 years, we discovered that our bodies were comprised of 25,000 genes, and each of them were different depending on the individual. That first 15 years was directed towards healthcare, but the innovation has now broadened into plants and agriculture and food, and also into animals and the cataloging of those things. So interestingly, AI is accelerating the rate of innovation in that world, because if you're dealing with data sets 25,000, 100,000 and so on, and then trying to compare them with another data set of a similar size, you need tools to be able to do that. So bringing that technology into the world is helping to not only reduce costs. It costs $3 billion to catalog the first human genome. It costs $1,500 now for any individual. So the cost of that development has reduced massively, but the application of it is much more specific now in helping surgeons to create pathways to treatment in a much more efficient way because of technology. So your example of AI and how it changes the mission along the way has not changed the fact that we're trying to bring innovation to the market, commercialize it, and grow economies in the US and all around the world in a big way. So just the second part to that is, how do we communicate these things to our staff? Well, there's a multitude of ways that we do that. Many of them are traditional. We can communicate at conferences like this. We can organize board meetings. We can organize staff meetings to do these things. We can use social media to evangelize. How we can use annual reports, for example. We can use plans and strategic plans and so on. So there are many ways that we can communicate a vision and to drill down and make it real for the people that are going to action those plans, which is really important.
Thank you very much, Steve. And going to Brian here, I guess how has our vision for your organization beneficially impacted the client demographic that you are specifically working with?
Yeah, so thank you. In the same way that the staff has to be bought into the vision, it has to have that trickle-down effect to the clients. And so I guess I can give you the example of, like, if somebody would get out of prison, they come to us. We set them up with a peer recovery coach. We scholarship them into sober living house, but they've got, say, 3 or 4 days of sobriety, maybe 30 days of sobriety, and they have rebuilt nothing yet. They don't have a job, they don't have connections to people, they don't have any life skills and all of these things. Well, they come to our events and get involved with 100 people that are already doing those type of things. And then we communicate to them, like, hey, here's the reason why we're doing this. We're doing this so that people like you in your situation can have the same access to the services that we're providing, and you don't have to repeat the cycle again. So we get them to see that, and then we say that your success is important to the benefit of everything that we're doing. We need you to be successful, so your success is you're already contributing to doing that by being here and being part of this. So when everybody else is telling them, like, hey, you're not worth anything, you have a rap sheet of felonies, you have addiction problems, you have all of these things, all of the stigma things, And then we're saying, no, you're actually valuable in this environment because here's the vision. Here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take your story and we're going to put it on stages like this, and we're going to show people in other states and other countries and around all these places that this is possible. And we do that then by setting them up with a recovery coach who's already done it. And so now they're like, oh, I've never even known somebody that's, they're coming from family cycles that have been histories and generations of prison and drug addiction and all these things. They've never had exposure to it. So we give somebody the exposure to it, and then they're like, oh, my recovery coach was also in prison, and now my recovery coach has a house and a car and a family and all of the things, and they have the exposure to it. Now it's real. And now they're like, I can now see myself in the vision of what my coach is trying to portray to me, and that. They can't see necessarily, I'm not expecting them to see the bigger vision, but like, and in response to that, it's like the vision has to be big enough that it includes the shifts.
Right.
Like, there isn't any shift, like, who knows what's going to happen with Medicaid? We work with all Medicaid clients. Who knows what's going to happen with federal funding? We rely heavily on federal funding. Don't know, doesn't matter. The shift is within the vision of what we're doing, that the vision is bigger than any shift that's going to happen. So we don't have to change that. We can change the vehicle and the mission and how we get there, but it doesn't change the course of the vision on everybody buying into the ultimate vision of it.
That's a great point. Thank you, Brian. Just with this, I'm going to ask the audience here, how many of these companies, I was going to ask you first, but
Going a round of applause here.
I'm going to go to the audience here. Does your company have a vision statement? How many of your, yes? I'm looking at hands here. How many of you have the vision written? Okay, it seems like 1/3 of you. And how many of your are your companies trying to grow? Do you have a mission statement? Do we know what's the difference between vision and mission? I'm not going to go there, but I'm still figuring that out. But yeah, so it seems like 1/3 or 1/4 of the people here have the vision statement created. Yeah, and sorry, going back to that question about your companies are trying to grow. Can somebody raise hand? We have majority of the people are trying to grow the company.
Yeah.
You're trying to grow the company? Okay, all right. Yeah, definitely recommend having a vision because that gives everybody the motivation, coming together, aligning together. I think, Brian, you had talked about the massive growth, how you brought all that growth together by having the vision, because everybody will feel motivated to do that. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that tactical strategies apply. So now going to Tyler, sorry about that. Yeah, you talk a lot about the resistance. I believe you have written a book as well on that. So I guess why is it that so many people struggle to overcome that resistance in creating a vision, and what's the fastest way to overcome it?
So everything about vision is about attaining something that is not here yet. And so if you do not have resistance to it, then it's not big enough, right? And one of the things that has really helped me grow my company and help, I work with 6, 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs that are doing some crazy cool stuff on the planet. And no matter who I work with, there's a common theme. And the common theme is that they have a story bigger than where they are right now. And one of the key things is to know that resistance and that struggle is there to guide you, to inspire you, and to influence you to change. If you don't change, your vision will not happen. And we know this, but most of us give in to our old nature. We give in to our procrastination, our old way of thinking that we can't 10x, that it's got to be super difficult, or that because I made my first million, the next million is going to be just as hard, or whatever it might be. And to see, just because something has been, if you want to get out of that, you have to create a vision of how it's going to be different. And that's what I see, and the most powerful thing is that it's not just a mindset piece. A lot of people think, hey, I just need to work on my mindset, work on my mindset. But over my years of studying, I found that it's actually fight-flight responses stored in the body. And so what does that mean? It means if I set a vision, you're going to have a physiological response in opposition towards that vision, which is why not everybody gets their vision. Very few people actually get where they want to go. So the difference between someone who gets where they want to go is that they completely change their identity, who they are, so that they resonate with that vision, and they think, they act, and they do things in a completely different way that is on par with that vision. So the one thing that I love to, and this is what my superpower is showing people that in your body, and actually your organs and your glands, you have cellular memory that can resist your vision. And it'll actually cause health symptoms to come up, self-sabotage, addictive behaviors. And when you know how to shift that, which there's techniques and processes that you can literally do it in minutes, you can alter who you are and how you show up so that you can start taking action and creating your vision instead of going in circles and spending years self-sabotaging. So just learn, get educated first, that it doesn't have to be hard. Just because something was doesn't mean it has to continue that way. And as soon as you create a vision that it could be easy, it could take minutes instead of years, all of a sudden it gives you an incentive to do something completely different that will change the entire view of where you go and how you get there.
Thank you very much. And going to Sam here, we have talked about vision, and some of the people, I guess majority of the people have not crafted a vision. Can you give us some elements about how to craft a vision? Like, what are the elements for a strong vision?
It should scare you, like I said earlier. If it doesn't scare you, you're not thinking broad enough, you know? I think that goes back to what you were saying. If you don't find that resistance, you're not going beyond what you need to really craft a good vision right there. So to me, I know it's just one word and it's simple, but it should scare you. It should get you out of your comfort zone. If it keeps you in your comfort zone, I don't think your vision is big enough.
That's great. So bold and audacious.
And it should scare you more than the other people that you tell, actually. Yep.
Should we be telling everybody about our vision? That's another question I get from people.
Absolutely.
I
think
have a
so.
vision in mind, I have a goal in mind. I don't know if I should be telling that because it's too bold. I don't know if I can achieve it. Those are some of the comments I hear too.
I would, but you know, every person is different, you know.
Right.
I absolutely would, because if I don't share my vision, how am I going to get the people to be able to even inspire them to help me out to achieve that vision? So I would share it.
I could give one example from my business on the tension and the reframing in order to, and as a business owner who is close to retirement, if you want to walk away with a retirement check from your business, in other words, if you want to sell what you've built for most of your life, what we say to our clients is we're looking for a reframing of your thinking as a business owner. So, you know, up until now, the world has told you that you need to grow your business and you need to make money and make a surplus from the point of view of profit, which is absolutely true. But there's another dimension to the value of your company, which is the quality of the assets that you built, how they're put together, the types of tools that you use, and so on, and that drives a multiple in the eyes of a professional investor. So, what we're looking for is a mindset change away in the last 3 to 5 years of your business, away from just driving profitability. We want you to keep making profits. But you also need to have a mindset change, which is, how do I make sure that my business is sustainable into the future, that in the hands of a third party, it's going to continue on making those profits and being able to grow and so on. So that is a value pivot that business owners need to make. So it's speaking to that it's tough to do it. It's tough to do it, but if you can kind of if you can make that pivot at the back end of your business life, it's valuable to what you can walk away with in retirement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have a question? No. So I mean, I like that idea, what you just said. I do this for a living, essentially running projects and programs with a purpose. And, I like exactly what you're saying, just making money and, being rich is, even as a company, doing well in Wall Street is not always the goal. With this revolution that we're having in this world, where people are getting affected, we have the haves and the have-nots, we have a lot of inequality, and organizations today need to have purpose. When you're talking about vision, about mission, about goals and objectives that do good. So I wanted to get your thoughts on, I like what you were just saying. When I'm building a mission, when I'm crafting my vision, I have to have purpose, and that purpose has to do good, so that we're all better off at the end of whatever that endeavor is. I wanted to hear you say something about that, and how does that work for you? How have you been able to achieve through resistance, making that 1% change every day, so you can overcome resistance and make change? So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
So one of the things that I find is it's good to have a vision and a mission, but the most important thing to me is a story. And the story combines it all, and it's an evolving piece. And a simple technique to do, and this is something that I teach, is that if you create a story in detail, not just about the outcome, like here's the check-offs, okay, I made a lot of money, X, Y, Z, but share your story and create it, actually like write it down, of here's who I am going to be as if it's already happened a year, 5 years, and 10 years out. And write out your story more focused on how you overcome the resistance in attaining the goals, because that's focused on becoming this, not just doing this. And like you were saying, it's not sustainable, and I think we're pivoting away from this of just let's get profitable, let's make a lot of money, but then you're burnt out, you're frustrated, you lost your marriage 7 times, and it's not success.
Right.
Like what true success is having time freedom, money freedom, and having the health to enjoy it, and great relationships. Mm-hmm. And so incorporating a story to embody your vision and your mission, to reiterate that daily to yourself until it becomes part of your identity, and working through all the resistance to that, it becomes such a powerful asset, so that you don't have to just remember a document word by word and say, oh yeah, here's my mission statement that I repeat every day, but who am I becoming? And if your whole team follows that philosophy, every single person has a cool story of who they're becoming and what they want as part of the mission and the vision. I don't know if that actually answers your question, but it's like, I think that's the doingness of how to make it happen.
No, that's great. That's great. Because I teach storytelling with data
Okay.
and AI.
Yeah.
So if they don't have a story, you can have really good data and have insights, but you don't have a story, your audience doesn't connect with you. And I think that makes a lot of sense, what you're just saying.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the 3 key elements, you were saying something?
Go ahead.
Yes, so what I'm hearing here is that definitely the authenticity and the purpose driven, right? Why do we exist, right? And what impact do we want to make with our companies? So that's one aspect of vision that we definitely want to make sure that's covered, right? And the second is also inclusive and collaborative. Brian, I think you were mentioning about having everybody's vision in my company. So that is very critical as well. Everybody in your company should believe in that vision. If they don't, the company is not going to be successful, right? So that's another part. And the third is the sustainable and the future thinking. A great vision should always look at what is the forward thinking approach for me. It shouldn't be changing a lot. but it's more about your why. Why am I doing what am I doing? And I will explain and give a little bit context about why am I behind helping small businesses with their revenues. And you may say that yes, companies are going after money. That is not the case at all. 50% of the small companies, they close within first 5 years. And I don't know what's the number for the first 2 years, but it's a very big number. And I see that a lot of companies come to me at least 8 times saying, Vibha, can I get help for the coaching? And then ultimately, some companies have come to me, we have closed the business. So revenue, profits, it is critical for them to survive, to thrive. That's why I made that as my vision, because I was a small kid too when I did not know whether I'm going to have food today or education. Anyway, so yeah, that's the vision here. So the vision should always have some impact, right? Why are you doing what am I doing? My vision is to help small companies. My vision is to make sure that the salespeople be successful so that they can help companies, right? They can help their own family. They can go on vacation. They can have enough food, enough education, enough survival. If they get into addiction, they have money for somebody to help them out. So that's the overall, I guess, crafting a vision. It requires definitely the 3 components. I think that's what I'm hearing from all of you. Authenticity, purpose-driven, inclusive, collaborative, sustainable, and forward-thinking. Your mission will always go into that. Yes, AI will change my sales training probably. But my vision is still staying the same. Turn sales struggles into success. So more companies can be successful, profitable. They don't close, they live happy life, they have good education, etc. So anything else you want to add here on this part? Yeah, you want to add?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little short.
Probably they made it for me.
I appreciate your comments today, and I resonate with a lot of what you said. I think it might be helpful for the group. I know I would appreciate if you did take a minute and explain the difference between a vision and a mission statement. I know you said you didn't want to, but it would be helpful. I would appreciate it.
Go into that, okay. Yeah. I think I'm going to ask somebody else to take a tab at that.
Mind. I'll address that. Vision statements are usually very short and to the point. One sentence, small sentence. Mission statement, it's more detailed to me of how do you accomplish that vision. So that's what I would say the difference between a vision statement and a mission statement is. Vision is quick, sweet, to the point. Mission is more detailed. How do we get to that vision? Does that help? Maybe, maybe not. All right.
And mission can change as well with, yeah, go ahead.
What's that? Just do it, Yeah. That's more a tagline, but yeah, you can say that's a vision right there. I'll use my organization as an example. As I mentioned earlier, our vision statement says creating peace through music. That's it. And when I state that to people, I see people tensing up actually sometimes. Usually it's, what the heck are you thinking trying to create peace in the first place in this crazy wild world we live in right now, right? Imagine saying that, hey, I'm here to create peace. You'll find a lot of resistance right there when you say that to people. But that's how simple our vision statement is. Create peace through music. Well, what does that mean? Then we break it down into our mission statement, which is then to improve and enhance communities through the power of music, through conferences, live events, to raise funds for the 5 causes of peace: education, healthcare, economic development, housing, and nutrition. So that's what I would say. The vision is very short, mission statement is more detailed.
Yeah, I mean, one other example could be like what we have is turned sales struggles into success. It's very simple, but the mission says that we are going to train 500 plus people to help them thrive in their company. So that makes sense? So just few words, but it's driving us.
I understand it, I just didn't know if everyone did.
Oh, thank you.
Well, then the other side, do you
I
agree with what we
appreciate that.
said?
Yeah.
If, all right.
Yeah, if you want to add something else, please feel free. Somebody else had raised a hand? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi guys. Actually, it's very inspiring and motivational to listen to you. And I don't know, along with me, how many people are thinking to start writing down our mission statements. So just one question I have for you, and one I have for the other parties. Like, is it, like, how much important is it to have a mission statement rather than to have an end objective? Can we still reach to our end objective to be staying focused on that one? Or is it like worth having a mission statement? So that is for you. And the other part, which is also, I think, important, like vision, all the startups are a vision of someone, but not every startup is a success story. So before coming to a conclusion, like for every vision, we will be investing time and efforts on that one. Is it worth to invest, or there is a thin line, like we can stop and think, okay, it cannot be converted into a successful project, so let us go through some other idea? Or every vision or every thinking, it's a success story for somebody who is thinking from his side, but it may not be the same for others also. So what do you guys recommend, or what do you guys suggest that no, we should think on other aspects also before turning this into a reality, or before investing our time and efforts into that one?
So the first question was from me, right, for the vision part. What I have seen is that as I went deeper and deeper into my business, right, as I was seeing many companies coming to me and then ultimately saying that, oh, we are closing the business. Some of the companies worked with me and we are thriving and trying to help them grow their revenues and profits. But I think if I had worked with them on the vision part, it would have changed quite a lot, because it moves people, right? Why are they doing what they're doing? If that is important, then it also actually saves you time, because everything that I do in my business also, I'm thinking about it. Does it actually solve my vision or not? Is it really actually helping me drive that vision? Or is it taking me away, taking me in different direction? So every decision I'm making in my business also, I'm thinking about my vision and seeing that does it relate, does it align? And when I tell my customers about it, they get motivated as well. Oh, I am going to be one of those 500 people. So it eventually helps, because you also get a lot of loyal customers if you have vision, mission defined before you start. And that may change as you grow and become more mature in the business, right? But there is a lot of, I guess, research and strategic work that needs to be done. In my opinion, it has always helped. And I think it keeps me focused, it keeps my clients focused as to this is the vision. If you're doing anything else that does not contribute to it, let's not worry about that. And when we tell their clients about it, they're like, okay, we need to support that vision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
What was the second part of your question?
There was a stacking of the questions.
Short-term memories over here, yeah.
Like before we will get motivated to build one vision for any startup or anything, I was saying that not all the startups are successful, okay? So it's a vision for somebody. So before turning or working, spending time and efforts on something, is there a way like we can evaluate, or in a realistic way, note this is not going to work for the future? Maybe it's a success for us, we can see it as a successful project, but for others it's not a successful. So how do you differentiate between that one?
So the question is, can you tell if somebody's going to really suck and fail? Not to invest in them?
No, it's not, it's about,
Before.
Is your vision good or not? Is what you're
it's
asking.
not
Based on
about,
their vision, is that what you're saying? Or?
no, it's not about that, it's about like, for example, if I will think for something as a vision, so I am going to spend time and efforts on that one. Maybe it's not worth that efforts or time. But how do we differentiate? What is the thin line in that one? Like, we should invest time and effort, or we should not? That is my point.
So I started this in 2020. This was a thing that came out of the early COVID days. And I saw what was happening in the addiction treatment field, what was happening to mental health and suicide rates and all of those things. I spent a lot of time in prayer during that time. And that's when this vision came about. I tried a lot of different ways to not pursue what I'm pursuing. And so to do that, I just doubled down on every single level throughout it. I was all in. There was never, I think that with that question is like, if you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, you're not going to be successful automatically. Like you've already failed. You might as well go do something else if you're not going to fully jump and commit to it. And so that's where it was from the beginning. And we, struggled through that whole early process and ran out of money a couple times and continued to double down and continued to. So it's like when the growth has been rapid, it's been because of that. But it was like that time that I spent in prayer and having what I consider the God-given vision of it made it so massive that it was like, I don't believe that I can do this. I don't believe that I have the power to do this or to do this by myself, because it is so massive, but I'm just going to go. And I'm not going to go halfway. I'm not going to go 70%. I'm going to go 120. And I'm going to go all in this direction and see what happens. And if not, I've lived in my car before, so let's put it on the line. Look, we're in Vegas. Double down.
So, Brian, what I'm hearing is that risk is a part of it.
It is,
Yeah.
100%.
That if it's not risky,
Yep. That's it.
You're not doing it right.
There's going to be the pushback. I mean, we've had an insane amount of pushback
Okay.
And there's a
in
question.
the way that we do.
There's
A
a
lot of
question
people
at the
don't
mic.
agree with the way that we do
I
treatment.
don't think we can take any more.
And so it's
then
been
you
that
know
way.
you're doing it
And
right.
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 If you don't have people that are against it, that are pushing back against it, if you have other resistance, then it's not big enough anyway.
Thank you very much. We just have 2 minutes left, so maybe, is this a quick question?
It's a quick question. It's for Tyler. You had mentioned that when you write down your goals, it's in the present tense, as if it's already happened. Do you do that, and do you do the same goals every day? Do you do it in the morning? Do you do it at night? Do you do it twice? How do you do it so it really resonates?
Yeah. I'll do the short answer, and then if you go to my booth, I'll give you the long answer.
I appreciate
But
it.
essentially, what I do is I'll write out the story with endpoints in, like, here's the things that I want to accomplish, right? But I know who I am right now, and I'm totally incapable of all these things. So then I write my story as if I've become that, and how I'd handle opposition, how I'd handle the setbacks, and how I move through that to attain that goal. Because certainty and how you move through the resistance is the #1 determinant if someone's going to succeed or fail. If they're not certain, they're going to fail. If they're not all in, they're going to fail. If they give in to resistance, they're going to fail. So then writing it out, vocalizing it out loud, you'll feel the resistance because it's a lie, and you're going to fight it. And then, if you learn a cool process that I teach, then you can actually move through that resistance in the moment and align your body so you don't fight it anymore. So when people look at a vision, it's not about a positive or a negative vision or words, it's how you react to it. So I could have a really amazing vision, but my body could actually be allergic to that thing. So it's putting me in a fight-flight response. So if you're just vocalizing your vision day in and day out, which is the old way of doing it, you're actually you could cause more of a setback because your body's in a constant fight-flight, which then you'll get overwhelmed, you'll get adrenal fatigue kicking in, like all sorts of stuff that happens because people are just focused on positivity versus reactivity and how to change that.
Do you reverse engineer the story at that point?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was like, yeah.
All right, thank you very mumuch. I think we are at the end of the time here. Really appreciate everyone's time here. So just to sum it up, definitely do create your clear and compelling vision, because that will drive growth. So that's the ultimate message. Thank you very much again for everyone.